So everyone, welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Today we're going to talk about the Ryan Whitney situation and how I think it should be resolved, including 5 possible destinations for the Scituate, Massachusetts native. Obviously, Whitney's having a subpar year for the Oilers. He's at 3 points in 12 games and is been a healthy scratch in I think 4 or 5 games. And for a 30-year-old defenseman that's been around a while, that's really kind of a slight. And I think it's time that him and the Oilers part ways. And I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. Edmonton's looking to get some younger guys some ice time, so I think it'd be a good move to ship him elsewhere. Edmonton's currently outside the playoff picture in the West. 3 points outside, but still, I think it'd be in their best interest and Whitney's best interest to let him play somewhere else where he's going to get consistent ice time and play for a legitimate shot at a Stanley Cup. I got those 5 teams. Honorable mention goes to the Minnesota Wild and Tampa Bay Lightning. Jonas Brodin's come on outstanding for Minnesota, and I still think they need another defenseman. I think Whitney could help him out, but I don't see Edmonton moving him in the division. Tampa would be a good fit. I just don't see him fitting what Yzerman's trying to mold. I don't. I think they could use another defenseman, but I don't think he's the guy. But I think they would kick the tires on him. Number 5 is the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously, they need some help on the blue line. Anytime you lose a future Hall of Famer and a pretty good other player, Brad Stewart, your defense is going to suffer, and I think having Whitney out there could definitely help them. Number 4, the LA Kings, Mitchell, Green, and injuries abound on the blue line. I think sending him back to Southern California, where he played with Anaheim once upon a time, I think he definitely helped the LA blue line. Once again, I don't see them moving him in conference. Same thing with Detroit, if I mentioned that. But I think Edmonton would like to move him east, and the top 3 teams are all Eastern Conference teams. Number 3, the Philadelphia Flyers. They made no bones about it. They want to improve that blue line. You look at Holmgren offer and Weber, the offer sheet over the summer. Now Ryan Whitney's nowhere near the player Shea Weber is, but he can still help that blue line. Still move the puck, still be a pretty decent power play quarterback, and I think he can definitely fit in what Laviolette's got there in Philly. Number 2, the Ottawa Senators losing Erik Karlsson. This is the most intriguing one. You lose Karlsson for the season, plain and simple. But they're still in the 7th spot in the East. I think if you add Whitney, Whitney's not going to replace Karlsson, plain and simple. But if you look at the piece I did on the Ewing theory in hockey, putting him in there and having everyone else elevate their game, Ottawa can make the playoffs. If they can move into that 6th seed, they draw Carolina or Tampa in the first round, whoever wins the Southeast Division, and they can beat either team. If they can keep, because the season ends later, realistically, if they win a series, they can get Karlsson back for the second round. And if Karlsson's back, May 15th, call it, that's the second round right there. Maybe they can make a run. Craig Anderson's been playing great. I don't think they'll keep it up, but if Spezza comes back, Karlsson comes back, you're really looking at something. They could really make some noise. Factor in if Whitney's rejuvenated and plays like he did in Pittsburgh, which we'll talk about that in a second. They could definitely be a team to compete in the Eastern Conference. Great coaching staff, great teams, great depth. But the number 1 team is Pittsburgh. He played his best hockey of his career in Pittsburgh once upon a time. Him and Crosby on the power play really had something special going. He peaked at 59 points in 81 games in the 2006-2007 season before getting traded. The year they won the Cup in 2008-2009 to Anaheim, and then he's kind of hasn't found the success he has. He's been injured a lot. The plus minus has suffered. He's minus 22 in his NHL career. Minus 6 this season. He's been a minus 26 since he's been in Edmonton. So, and you look at 2010-2011, he was 27 points in 35 games and a plus 13 on a team that had the worst record in hockey. He's a good player. I think he needs to be rejuvenated by a change of scenery. And I think definitely going back to Pittsburgh would do that. And they need another defenseman. You look at the loss to the Flyers the other night. Blowing the lead late. If he can munch minutes, play on the power play, do stuff like that, you're really looking at a guy that can. If playing with Crosby, get him back in that system. I don't think he ever actually played for Bilesma. I think he got traded before they fired Terrian, but I think it'd be a good fit either way. I think he can definitely help him out. I think he'd help that power play and shore up defensively. He's a big guy, 6'4". Give you some size and some offensive abilities. Anyway, that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ on how to resolve the Ryan Whitney situation in Edmonton. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.